Hello and welcome to the very first episode of the Stitchberry Podcast. That is so crazy to say. I've thought about doing a podcast for a really long time, and I eventually decided I might as well record the first episode. It's really nerve-wracking, but I hope you enjoy it, and I'm really excited to start this new series on my channel. So a little bit about me. Hello, my name is Grace. I am the crochet designer behind Stitchberry. I have a blog and I have all of my crochet patterns available on Etsy, and you can also find me on Instagram and Pinterest. And I've been designing crochet patterns for several years. I absolutely love it. It's literally my favorite thing in the entire world. And kind of a little bit about why I decided to do a podcast is because as a crochet designer, something that I've struggled with over the past couple of years is I struggled with, at first, when I first started designing, I had the headspace of better is more and kind of quality over quantity, and I was designing, and in my head I was like, okay, I need to like always be designing something and always be publishing a new pattern and things like that, and kind of that idea of just always having to have a new pattern. And I realized about a year ago that, first of all, I was getting burnt out from that, and second of all, with pattern designing, a lot of the time you design a pattern, you get super excited about it, and then your audience just doesn't like it for whatever reason, and that's okay. It happens to everyone when you think a pattern is going to do well. And so I was like, okay, I am putting in a lot of work for only designing a couple patterns that are actually doing really well. And so I decided to scale back on the pattern designing. And I actually have only published one pattern this year. And so then I was thinking, well, I still want to be able to produce content for crocheters and knitters. What else can I do that's not pattern designing? And of course tutorials, and I'm super excited to be doing more blog posts this year that aren't necessarily crochet patterns. And one of the things obviously was start a podcast. These are my absolute favorite crochet / knitting videos to watch on YouTube. I love watching these while I am working on my own projects, and I get so much inspiration from them. And so I felt like this was a really good thing to do, and I'm really excited to get into it. Also, I don't know how often I will be posting episodes. I know it won't be every week. I'm a very slow crocheter and knitter, and so it would be really boring watching every week because there just wouldn't be that much progress. And so I'm thinking either once a month or every other week. I haven't decided yet. We'll kind of see how this first episode and the next several episodes go before I decide. But in the beginning, the episodes will probably be a little sporadic because I don't really know what I'm doing, and that's okay. We'll learn together. So we can go ahead and get started. I don't have any finished objects that I honestly don't remember the last time I finished a project. The past month has been super crazy, and so I haven't had as much time to work on projects. So I haven't had a finished object in probably 3 to 4 weeks, honestly, but that's okay. So we can skip over finished objects and go right into whips. This first one, I'm hoping to finish this. I think I can finish it this week. I'm almost done with it, and I'm obsessed with these. So I'm calling these my Evermore socks, and I will explain in a minute. But I have the first sock done, and this is what it looks like. It's just super simple knitting. I think they call them like the vanilla socks. So the cuff and then I did 2x2 ribbing, and then just working around the knit stitch for the rest of it. And I did an afterthought heel. That's my favorite heel to do. And I used Sorella's Evermore yarn. I bought this yarn from her Greatest Hits collection back in January, and this colorway is originally from her Taylor Swift collection that she did, I think, last August. Evermore is my favorite album by Taylor Swift, and for some reason, when she first did the Taylor Swift collection, I bought the Ivy yarn just because I love the color, and I thought I'd make a really pretty pattern sock. And I wasn't feeling the Evermore colorway when it first came out, but then in January with the Greatest Hits collection, the more I looked at it, the more I'm like, I really love that. And if you know me, if you go to my Instagram or my blog or see any of my projects, you know that I'm not big on color, especially like variegated. I just love my neutrals, and so this is really out of the box for me, but I love it. I love this variegated. I think I really like that there's not one main color, like there's just so many colors in it, but they all go together really well, and they're all more muted and more moody, which I really like. And so I think this is definitely like my type of variegation and color. And I got inspiration from the Crazy Sock Lady to do a couple rounds at the cuff in Gold Rush. I bought the sock set, so it came with Evermore as the main color. Sorry if you hear all that clicking, that's all my stitch markers. I'll just put it there. And it came with as part of the sock set, so Evermore and Gold Rush, which Gold Rush is also from the Taylor Swift Evermore album. These are so pretty together. So I'm doing Gold Rush a little bit at the top and then at the toe. And so the first one is completely done. I even wove in all the ends, which I normally don't do that until both socks are done. But I just was like, I want to get this completely done. So this is where I'm at with the second sock. I have the leg all done, already put in my waist yarn, and I'm over halfway done. My goal is to finish this weekend, and I think that's really reasonable. So I'm almost done with these, and I'm so excited. These are my favorite socks that I've ever made to date. I'm just so excited to wear them, and yeah, I'm obsessed. I have no words for these. I'm so ready for them to be done. They've been on my needles for over a month, and I'm just ready for them to be done too. So that is my first project. This will be a finished object next time, and I'm so excited. And I'm really excited to finish these two because I have a lot of other socks planned, which we'll talk about later. And I really only like to have one sock project going at a time because I do get overwhelmed if I have too many projects. So that is my first whip. Let's do my other knit project. And also, this is new for me. I normally don't have two knitted projects going at the same time, but here we are. So this does not look like much. I just started this a couple days ago. Again, it does not look like much. It is rolled up, and so sorry, that white just keeps getting blown out. But if you kind of roll it down, you can see it looks like I've done a lot more, which I have. But this is going to become the Ella tank top, I think that's what it's called, by Madison Marie. I'm hoping that this is going to work out. There are two reasons why I'm hesitant that it will work out. First of all, I may not have enough yarn, so I'm using Cascade Pima Cotton. There we go. And I don't know what colorway this is. it's like a cream white. It's not like a full white. It is a bit more of a cream. But I made a cardigan with this white and then like a mustardy yellow, also from this collection. Last fall for I Like Crochet, I do some occasional designs for their magazine. So I had several skeins left over from this yarn, and it's been sitting in my stash, and I'm like, what do I want to do with this? There was quite a bit of it. There was maybe 500 yards, and for crochet I knew that because crochet uses so much that there wasn't really a whole lot I could do with it to like actually make something besides just like scrappy projects, which I didn't want to do that because there was so much of it. So I decided to create or attempt to do a knit tank top. So, but I'm hesitant because that I will have enough yarn, which goes into my second issue that I'm hoping that this will work out, is I'm using, so the pattern calls for worsted weight and I'm using DK weight. So, and then I'm also using 2 needle sizes smaller than what is called for in the pattern. So obviously the sizing is going to be pretty different. I did go up about 2 sizes. Normally with something like this, I would have done like the small, maybe the medium, and I decided to go with the large, and it does look small, but I'm okay if it's a little bit more fitted. And I'm also hoping that I can stretch it out a little bit when I block it, and I don't want it to be super oversized, especially because it does like come down a little bit in the front. So I am okay with it being a little bit more fitted. So, but really I feel like the main issue that I might have is running out of yarn, because if I was like knitting the small I would have enough, and I don't know if I will for the large. We're gonna find out. And my plan is, because it is knit in 2 panels and then you seam it all together, my plan is to knit, and it's worked bottom up, but knit up to where you split, and on both the back and the front, and then I can see how much yarn I have left, and I can kind of take out some rows from the body if I need to. I am okay if it is a little bit more cropped too. So that's kind of my plan. We'll see how it goes. I may not have this project for the next episode if I make a lot of progress and realize I'm not gonna have enough yarn. But this is a really nice, easy knit. It's a super easy pattern. This is my second ever knitted garment. I have knitted one sweater like 4-5 years ago. It was a really long time ago. So I'm really excited to hopefully start knitting more garments again. So this is the second one. So the third project that I'm working on, and this is also like my last whip, is crochet. And it is a crochet design that I'm so excited about. So this, ooh, my hook just fell. So it's quite long, and I don't think I'll be able to get all of it in, but this is going to become a wrap that's going to be very long, and it's kind of like sporadically striped between just simple crochet stitches and then this super pretty like eyelet-y and bobbly stitch pattern. I love this so much. I was originally going to knit a cardigan with this yarn, and I'm using Hobby alpaca silk. Oh, please focus. And it's not going to focus, but I used alpaca silk, and this is 70% alpaca, 30% mulberry silk. I've never I don't think I've ever actually knit or crocheted with silk. So this is really fun, and it is so soft, and it has a nice halo effect to it. And this is a fingering weight, and I normally don't crochet with fingering weight, so this is really fun. I was originally going to knit a cardigan, and I just wasn't liking how it was turning out, and I also was thinking I'm probably going to run out of yarn. Can we tell a theme here? So I was like, okay, what do I want to make with it? And I was like, you know, I have enough that I could crochet a nice shawl or wrap that could go really well in the summertime because it is fingering weight, so it's really lightweight. But if you get chilly in the evening, then you can just wrap yourself in it. And I asked on Instagram if you guys wanted like a triangle shawl, or if you wanted more of like a wrap that's more rectangular and longer, and you guys said rectangle. So my plan with this is I still have 4 whole skeins left, and then the partial one that I'm working on right now, and I forget how many I've used up so far. But my plan is to really just go either as long as I feel like it needs to be, or to just go until I run out of yarn. We'll see. I know that I have plenty of yarn left to make it really long as I want to. I don't know if I'll get to a point where I only have a partial skein left. I'm like, well, I might as well just finish it off so I don't have that yarn. But this is really fun to work on. I've been working on it for quite a while, mainly because I've had the socks going too at the same time as this, and so when I'm working back and forth between projects, then I find that the progress is obviously a lot slower. And I feel like I'm going to say this again, I'm a very slow crocheter and knitter, and so it takes a lot longer to get something done. But I have started this, I think, like a month ago maybe, and I feel like maybe like 3 to 4 weeks ago, and I feel like I've made decent progress on it. It's been really fun because I've kind of I had a very vague idea in my mind of how I wanted the stripes to look between like the simple crochet stitches and then the more like eyelet and the bobbles. And so I've kind of been going with that in my head, but also kind of being very loose with it and being like, okay, I feel like starting a bobble section now, and so then I do that, and that's been really fun. And it's super mindless, especially once, and already this section is super easy to do, and it's just a 2-ish to 4 row repeat. It's technically a 4 row repeat, but in a way it's like 2, just because you're changing the placement of where the bobbles are, so then they're not like all lined up, they're more staggered. But it's basically 2 rows, so it's super easy to do. It's been a really fun, mindless project. Again, the past month has been super stressful and has been a lot, and there's been a lot of days where I haven't felt like knitting or crocheting, but then when I do feel like, okay, I just want to sit down and I want to crochet, this has been a really, really great project, and I'm so excited to use it. I think it's going to be perfect for spring and summer. And I'm normally really, really bad with naming projects. That's usually like the absolute last thing that happens. And most of the time I'm like texting like my friends or my family like, what do I name this? I don't know what to name it. And with this project, because of the baubles and with it being a little bit more of a summery project, I was like, okay, I kind of wanted to have like a berry theme to it, to the name, but I didn't know what. And I was looking at the yarn label the other day, and I hadn't looked at it in such a long time, and I saw that mulberry silk, and I was like, mulberry, that like actually goes really well, because I wanted something kind of with the berry, because I feel like the baubles kind of represent berries. And so I think that this is going to become the mulberry wrap. It might change, but right now I'm calling it the mulberry wrap. And as far as a release date, I don't know. Again, this year I'm being pretty lenient with myself on pattern release dates and just designing in general, and so I know it's not going to happen probably before July, and maybe the end of June. I know the earliest would be the end of June, but I don't know for sure. But I will keep you updated on that. Okay, that is all of the whips that I have actively going right now. I thought it'd be fun to share some of my plans for socks. So I was going through my stash the other day, kind of doing some cleaning and organizing with it, and because in my head I was getting stressed because I knew like all of these projects and things I wanted to do, but it was kind of just all in here, and I needed to like do something with those thoughts so then it wasn't all just floating up here. Sorry about that. And so one of my favorite things to do with projects that I'm planning is, first of all, like all of my projects are in Crochet Baskets. They are my favorite way to keep yarn, keep whips, anything really. Like I literally have this basket and then 3 more baskets down here. This is one of my designs. This is also one of my designs. So, and it's a great way to use up stash because this was stash yarn that I used up. I'm going on a tangent right now. But I like to pull yarns that I know I'm going to use for projects. I like to pull it out of my stash and put them in baskets like this. And that kind of just tells my brain, okay, this is what you're going to work on next. And it takes a lot of the thoughts that are going up here. It takes them out because then I don't have to think about what's next. So I went through, and one of my goals this year is to really work down my stash and do a lot of projects that involve yarn that's already in my stash. Because I used to be, several years ago, I was really good at maintaining a smaller stash. I don't like a lot of clutter. I don't like just having so much of things I don't use. And so it just works really well for me to have a small stash, and I was really good at it. And then just with designing and projects, I wasn't maintaining that stash, and so it's built up quite a bit. Okay, sorry, my camera decided to do something weird, but we are back. So I was going through my stash the other day, and I'm almost done with my Evermore socks, and I wanted to make some more socks with yarn in my stash. That's one of my favorite stash busting projects, just because they don't use a whole bunch of yarn, but like they use enough yarn where if you have like one skein in there or something, then it's a really good project that can use up that yarn without just like throwing it in a scrappy blanket or something like that. I use the yarn where it's like I have too much of it to go into a stash project, but I also don't have enough of it to like make something else. So I pulled out some yarn and that I would like to make into socks, and I put it in this basket. And so far there are 3 sock projects in here. The first one is this white and this like raspberry pink. I like calling it raspberry. I think that's a fun name for it. So these 2, I know this is Lion Brand, and then this is We Crochet / Knit Picks. So these are 2 different yarns, but they have a similar feel, and they have similar, they're like a similar weight too. So I feel like they're going to work really well together, and I'm going to stripe them, and I think they are going to be so pretty together. So this is my next project. Once I finish the Evermore socks, then I want to start these. And then After that, I also have another skein of this somewhere in my stash. I just want to pull this out to let me know this is what you're doing next. I'm thinking I'm going to do some ribbed socks with this yarn. I love making worsted weight socks because they go by really fast and they're just so thick and cozy. So that is what I'm going to use this yarn for. And then this is the same yarn. This is all Swish. This Swish DK. This I dyed, was it 2 years ago? I think 2 years ago, with avocados. So much fun. And I dyed these at 2 different times, so they have a slight color variation. And I have this skein of Swish, and this is also Swish. And so I was like, you know what, this would make a really good pair of socks. Because these are 2 different colors, I haven't exactly decided how I'm going to do it yet. I'm almost thinking I might like stripe these 2 and then have this be like the cuffs and the heel and toe, or just like the cuffs and the toe. My favorite thing with socks is to do the cuff and the toe in a contrasting color, and then the heel be that color. But so I haven't decided exactly, but I've had this yarn in my stash for so long, for over 2 years, and I'm really ready to use it up. So those are some of the projects that I have planned, and I'm going to show you another one which I've already started. I haven't worked on it in several months, and I'm showing you as accountability for myself to work on it. So this is a design that I've had in my head for a really, really long time, and I finally started working on it. And I didn't show this as a whip because, again, I haven't worked on it in so long. This is some of my plans for the future and what I want to work on. So I want to make my first, or design my first yoke sweater. This yarn is Andean Treasure. It is a sock weight, and this is like Cherry Blossom Heather or something like that. So pretty. If I'm going to crochet with a color, I want it to be like this, where it's nice and muted, but it's gorgeous. So it has like a little double thick, is that how you say it? Double thick neckline, or like turtle double thick neckline that's ribbed, so cozy. And then you kind of just work around. So right now it's like a big square, and I'm about ready, I think, to start connecting the 2 sides together and then start working around in the body. I started this, I don't even know, I think it might have been last fall, it might have been in December, it might have been in January, I don't even know. But I really, really would like to get this sweater done this summer, so then I can work on writing the pattern and the sizing, so then I can publish it maybe September, October, somewhere in the fall. And I have another sweater pattern or sweater design that's a whip that is also sitting in a basket somewhere, collecting dust, because I have not worked on even, and I know I started that one last fall, and then I just, it took too much brain power to work on them for the past few months. So my plan was to pull them out one at a time to work on them this summer. I do have some designs planned for this summer, but they're going to be very easy and quick. So I know that in between those projects, getting those crocheted, published, and all that stuff, I know it's manageable to also work on this. So I would like to work on this obviously as soon as possible. I might wait until I finish the mulberry wrap. I haven't fully decided. I know that I could finish the mulberry wrap pretty soon. I think obviously I want to get the Evermore socks done, and then I want to get the mulberry wrap done as soon as possible too, because I do want to start working on that pattern and getting it ready for a release. So we shall see. I might wait until I finish the mulberry wrap, but I wanted to show you this so you can see that. But I wanted to show you this project because I want to start on it again, and I wanted to pull it out, and I know if I talk about it and show it, then I will be more motivated to share it, to work on it, and actually get it somewhere beyond the yoke. So that is my plans for future projects. Okay, and I think that is all I have for today. Thank you so much for watching. I am so excited to be starting this podcast and sharing all of my making adventures with you guys. And please let me know what you want to see on the podcast. I know that I would like to do some more sections and maybe do some more things that isn't necessarily knit or crochet related. So let me know what you would like to see, and I can't wait to hear from you. And thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a great day, and happy knitting and or crocheting.